All right, hi there, everyone. Back with another little coding live stream here. Hope everyone's doing well. Yeah, I'm excited to be back. We've been away for about a week, or I've been not doing a whole lot of work on some of this plugin stuff that we've been talking about in past weeks for the last little while. So I'm excited to get back into it. Also, as an aside, we've had phenomenal weather here in Seattle today, so I've been getting outside a little bit and enjoying that. But yeah, so today the idea is to get back to working on the Chow multi-tool plugin, which we talked about here on the stream before. And yeah, there's going to be some new stuff that we're going to be showing, and yeah, the end goal today is to be able to do some filter key tracking as one of the plugins features is the state variable filter, and it is supposed to do well under modulation. And so the idea is, okay, well, let's see if we can get the filter to key track along with maybe a synthesizer or some MIDI input. So I've got my MIDI keyboard set up here. And then, yeah, the idea is going to be to see if we can get the filter cutoff to control or to be controlled by the MIDI input over here. So let's turn on the keyboard, and yeah, it should be fun. Hopefully, we got some interesting things to see. All right, so yeah, let's fire up Bitwig as well. And so let's see, we're going to want to tell Juice that the plugin wants a MIDI input. So I need to remember the proper way to do that. So let's go through the Juice CMake API here, and maybe I can figure it out from there. So MIDI needs MIDI input. Yeah, so we do want a MIDI input. It's not a MIDI effect. I guess it doesn't need MIDI output. It would be good if MIDI passes through it, though. But yeah, you know what? Let's stop this build, because I think it's going to need to do another full build after we change this setting. So let's do this first. And now we'll probably need to reload CMake and go from there. Oh, also, while I'm waiting for things to compile, I should make my screen bigger so that it's easier to see on the stream. So yeah, now everything should be significantly bigger. Hopefully that's easier for everyone to see. In the past weeks, I've been trying to manually adjust like font sizes and stuff on my code editor, but I think maybe this will be a little bit easier to work with. So yeah, let's see if we can get this going. So looks like CMake is fine. And yeah, so let's build the plugin. So in kind of the root plugin class here, this is the base class is being exposed to the DAW. We've got a audio block here, process audio block, which gives us this MIDI, or sorry, gives us this audio buffer. But we actually want to get the MIDI buffer as well. So let's see how we were handling things in the plugin base class, and that'll give us an idea of what we need to do here. So, okay, plugin base, process block. So I should be able to basically just copy this and have it there as an override. I think that should do what I needed to do. Yeah, and so we're probably have to wait for this to build for a little while, so I'll get going on that while that happens. So back here, I'm going to want to add override method here. And then the other class is a juice MIDI buffer. So this will be MIDI buffer, and this will be an override. And then this one, we don't really want to do anything now, since that's been kind of, that's going to get bypassed now by manually overriding the process block method. So let's give this a shot here. And yeah, let's copy some things from plugin base here. Process block. All right. So that's what the base class was doing. We know that we're going to have this module available, so I don't really need to do that. Scope no denormals is good. We should keep that. And then all of this stuff we can move over to process block now. Oh, 1 minute. Cool. And so now we also need to pass the MIDI buffer to the multi-tool processor here. So let's adjust how we're doing that. Multi-tool processor, process block. We're not actually going to edit anything in the MIDI buffer. So at this point, I think I'm going to make it a const MIDI buffer. Hopefully that will be fine. Yeah, let's give that a try. Yeah, so then most of the plugins here are not going to, or sorry, most of the tools here are not going to actually use the MIDI input. So we can kind of ignore it in a lot of cases, but we are going to want it in here. So we'll capture that for when we actually go through and process our tool. And then let's set up the tool that we actually do want to have MIDI input for. So this should be SVF processor. So for now, we can just copy this logic here. And then in here is where we're going to have the MIDI buffer. So we want to add the MIDI buffer to that call. And then, yeah, that should allow us to kind of get things set up the way we want to. I don't think that'll be too bad. So yeah, let's see what we've got with our SVF processor here. Multi-tool processor, const MIDI buffer. So yeah, here we need to pass the MIDI buffer. MIDI buffer as a function argument. And yeah, that should work out all right. Yeah, sorry, I should have done the initial build before I started the stream here because I forgot how much running Zoom slows down my compile time here. Man, if anyone knows a way to set up Zoom so that it takes up less resources on your computer. I would love to hear more about that because yeah, kind of like usually the reason I'm on Zoom is because I want to show something to someone or doing a stream like this, and then it slows everything down so much that it makes it hard to actually show that to people. So I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so this thing will get compiled here in a minute, and then we can make sure that we're actually getting some MIDI input. That'll be the true test here. So then in the SVF processor, yeah, and in the SVF processor, we're going to want to change process block so that it also takes in our MIDI buffer. All right, so process block, MIDI, and then up here, we can add in the MIDI buffer. All right. Cool. And so here is where we want to tweak how we're doing things. So we've got this cutoff smooth that currently is taking the cutoff from, or the filter cutoff from whatever the parameter is set to. But that's not quite what we want to do. What we want to do is go through this MIDI buffer, see if there's any notes being played, and if there's a note being played, we want to set the cutoff frequency to the frequency of that note, basically. So let's review how to work with the Juice MIDI buffer, because it's been a minute since I've done that, actually. Okay. So probably going to want to use this MIDI buffer iterator. I wonder how new this is. I feel like this didn't exist the last time I was trying to do some Juice MIDI stuff. I don't do a ton of MIDI stuff in case it's not obvious to folks who are watching this. Okay, so we can do this kind of metadata iterator. So we have a MIDI buffer. We get all of our MIDI message data, MIDI message metadata from the messages in the MIDI buffer. And then what do we do with MIDI message metadata? Okay, so we can get the MIDI message, and then the MIDI message will tell us important things about if it's a note or not. So for now, I'd say we only care about note on. I think we could make a case for also caring about what do you call it? Pitch bend at some point. Yeah, that would be cool if we could catch pitch bend changes as well. Does Juice have a thing for that? Oh yeah, get pitch wheel value. Okay. Yeah, that would be a cool thing to be able to catch. Anyway, yeah, so for now, let's do this. So okay, so we're going to start with the cutoff being set to whatever the parameter is that happens in prepare to play. That's fine. And then when we're in process block here, we can loop through our MIDI buffer and try to get some MIDI notes here. So Juice MIDI message metadata. Okay, yeah, that's kind of a neat, thing. Didn't know you could do that until just now. All right, so we'll do MIDI message metadata dot get message. So const auto MIDI message equals that. And then we'll do if MIDI message dot is note on. That's the one we care about here. If MIDI message is note on, then we're going to set the cutoff smoother accordingly. So this should be MIDI message dot get note number, and then yeah, we have to convert that to frequency in hertz. And for now, I'm just going to do standard tuning. It might be cool to add something with micro tuning at some point, but I don't know that I'm there just yet. Yeah, there'd have to be a bit of probably some UI associated with that to get your tuning set up the way you want. Yeah, I'm not sure that's worth it at the moment. So yeah, this is like a very basic, like the most basic way we could do key tracking, I think. Let's give it a try. See if it works. Oh, what did I do wrong here? Oh, for the plot. All right, I guess I need a empty buffer. Yeah, an empty MIDI buffer to use for the visualizer. That's an interesting question, I guess. What should we do with the visualizer when we're in a key track mode? So yeah, I was thinking that the key track functionality would be kind of on a switch, so you could have a mode that you would turn on and off, and that would control key track for you. What did I do wrong? SVF processor, process block, undefined symbol. Maybe you meant juice MIDI buffer const and in multi-tool processor.cpp. Okay, this is a bit of a strange linker error. Yeah, so that's the declaration, and then this should be the definition, right? SVF processor, process block, const juice MIDI buffer and MIDI, const buffer view and buffer. What did I do wrong here? Apparently there is a oh, I think I see what's going on. Interesting. So my guess is that it's kind of thinking that we're in this else block here, and it's trying to call the function there. Let's test that, and actually let's comment that out and see if we still get the same linker error. Yeah, linking errors are kind of a pain. Not my favorite thing to deal with. Hey, Jess. Am I pronouncing that right? Jas? Yas? Good to see you again. Yeah, all my joints are very crackly. I don't know how loud that was on the microphone, but yeah. Anyway, okay, now we're back at the linker, and that's fine. Okay, so why don't we get the same error with the band splitter? I have to do something special to get that to work. No, I don't think I did. Okay. Weird. Band splitter. So with the band splitter, I can call process block, and that works fine. Right, yeah, because I'm getting this strange linker error where it seems to think that we have the SVF processor in this else block. But that shouldn't be the case. It should be in this if const expr or else if const expr up here. Did I do something wrong with how I'm doing the if const exprs? This is a weird one. Okay, SVF processor is same tool type. I don't know, let's try throwing a static assert in here. This is a test. So if that gives a compiler error, then I think that means that we are actually trying to do something in this if const expr block. Yeah, so the problem we have here is that we want to have a version of process block with different arguments that only gets called in this if const expr block here. Okay, so it seems like that is getting compiled. Yeah, again, I don't understand why we're having this problem with the SVF processor when we weren't with the band splitter processor. Okay, there's something strange going on, isn't there? Or maybe it's something simple and I'm just not seeing it for whatever reason. Static assert failed. Okay. What if I do this? Static assert. And I just do the negation of this. Let's try that. Right, like I feel like that should just work. Yeah, I don't know. The whole template metaprogramming thing in C++ can get weird, unfortunately. Okay, so seems like maybe this is compiling fine, but I think we're going to hit the same linker error, aren't we? Okay, I guess the linker error just went away. So you said you worked at Penticton. Does that mean you also live in BC? Well, so I don't live in BC. My dad's family lived in Vancouver. His parents lived in Vancouver. So I visited Vancouver quite a bit when I was a kid. When I was working, so this was summer of 2017. Yeah, it must have been summer 2017. I was working for a project called Chime, which is a radio telescope. And the radio telescope is was being built at the time in Penticton, BC. Now I think they finished building it. I was actually working at McGill in Montreal. There was a team of engineers at McGill that were all working on the Chime project as well, even though it was in BC. And there were engineers from University of Toronto, University of Waterloo, obviously UBC, and a couple other American universities as well that were all sort of collaborating on this project. So yeah, it was really cool to be a part of such a large and widespread effort. But yeah, I never actually got to go see the telescope in Penticton, which I was kind of bummed about. But now that so now I actually live in Seattle. So I'm not that far away from Penticton. So maybe one of these days I'll drive up and visit it now that I live up here. But yeah, so I'm not in BC. I didn't live in BC when I was working for the telescope that's in Penticton, but now I live in Seattle, so also Pacific Northwest. Yeah, okay, so I think now that this is compiled, we can give it a try here. Oh man, all right. There we go. One of these days I'll learn to actually type. Okay, so what is the best way to test this? So multi-tool. I want the clap build because that's the one that I just built. And I want the SBF. I'm also going to want the trusty EQ curve analyzer, as we so often use on the stream. So I haven't played any MIDI notes, so it makes sense that the cutoff is still at 1 kilohertz about. So that's to be expected. Let me make sure that my MIDI controller is working here. I can still hear that a bit. Let's turn it all the way off. All right, so maybe we can refresh MIDI controllers. All right, let's try unplugging it and replugging it in. There we go. All right, so we've got the MIDI keyboard hooked up. This is a new view. This must be new in the latest version of Ableton, or sorry, of Bitwig. So I want to get MIDI information into this audio track. Maybe I should just make it an instrument track. Can I do that? Well, I can just make a new track. There's probably a way to get MIDI onto an audio track as well, but I don't really feel like going through that at the moment. So there we go. And let's see. So evidently we are not getting MIDI in the plugin. So I'm seeing this yellow light flash here, like when I press a key on my MIDI keyboard. So I believe that means that like that's supposed to signify MIDI information. But I'm not seeing it in the frequency response. Interesting. I wonder if I'm trying this with the clap plugin at the moment. I don't know if the Juice clap wrapper has an implementation for what do you call it, for MIDI for audio effects. So maybe I should try the VST3 since I believe I had gotten this to work once in the past with VST3. So let's see if I can do that. But maybe more likely there won't be much difference. So what else could it be? Maybe let's see. Oh, maybe there's like a MIDI receiver. So in Bitwig, they've got this audio receiver where you can take audio from anywhere else in the DAW and bring it into this track, and that's kind of cool. But I wonder if they have something similar for MIDI. MIDI CC, MIDI program change. And I'm not seeing it. Let me search receiver, note receiver. That's interesting. Oh, that's kind of cool. All right. Yeah. So maybe that's something that can be useful in some way. So let's see, now we're doing the VST3. All right, so let's give that a try. Yeah, it says, I had a question for you. I was trying to model an LDR using a diode, but I want to model the nonlinearity in the photoresistor. If I'm not wrong, is it true that the response of a photoresistor is logarithmic? I think it is. It's been a couple years since I looked at this, so I'm having a little trouble remembering it. But I believe you're right that it is logarithmic. But yeah, maybe don't quote me on that, since my memory is a little hazy at the moment on that particular thing. So let's see. Now we're not getting any MIDI input once again. Man, is it going to need me to reconnect my MIDI controller every time? I hope not. That's kind of annoying. All right, there we go. Okay, so we've got some MIDI input on the track clearly, but we're not seeing any in the plugin. Oh, probably because, well, one reason could be because we're still using the clap build. So let's go back to VST3, see if there's any difference here. Well, now I'm getting no output at all. Weird. What's going on with that? All right. Maybe let's try just restarting the audio engine. No, still having that same problem. All right. What's going on here? I actually had this problem the other day and I couldn't figure out what was the cause, but basically plugin would just always mute the audio in Bitwig. And then after I rebuilt it and reloaded it in the DAW, everything was fine. So I don't know, maybe that's happening again here. Interesting. No, it seems like we're still having the same issue. I don't know, maybe we should try a debug build here. Want to get an expert opinion, I'm going to have to read a few papers if there are any available on the subject. There was something, I want to say it was an AES paper that I read a while back, specifically about light-dependent resistors. But yeah, I don't know, AES stuff is kind of hard to find, especially since I no longer have access to a lot of AES papers. I wonder if there is a DAFX paper. This is a Nersessian paper. He does a lot of machine learning stuff, so I feel like that may not be quite what you're looking for. Yeah, this is a different kind of LDR. I think Alto had modeled Buchla, which I studied, but it's more so modeled as a time domain filter. Interesting. I don't think I remember reading that paper. Wonder, yeah. Oh, I think I do remember that paper, actually. I don't think I spent a whole lot of time on that specific part of it. But yeah, I think I do remember that one. This paper is kind of a classic. The Yanulis, I don't know, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. But for all compression stuff, this is a great paper to read if you're interested in making a compressor. Pretty easy to understand. They really don't they don't hide too much stuff behind like crazy math or anything. They really try to make it pretty straightforward to just read and get what they're saying, which is great. Yeah, here we go. Optical compressors like the Teletronics use a light-dependent resistor as the bottom leg of a voltage divider located within the signal path. And they have some reference for that, probably a schematic or something. But it doesn't look like they really go into detail about that. So this is their this is their version of an analog peak detector circuit, which is not quite what you would have with a light dependent resistor. Well, there are some similarities, but it's a little different. And then yeah, a couple different variations on feedback architectures and feed forward architectures. Yeah, lots of different ways you can do that. Yeah, I'd have to spend a bit of time digging up that paper I was reading a while ago. It may not have even been a paper, it might have just been someone's notes. Yeah. That would be a good thing to review though. LDRs are pretty cool. Actually, I wanted to make a optical compressor guitar pedal with my friend Zane a while back, and I've been thinking about bringing that project back as well. All these projects that I want to start and then never seem to have time to. But that would be a fun one to work on as well. If I can find the time. Okay, so we're still getting this silence coming out of the plugin. That's weird. I'm going with the voltage divider approach, with one of them being fixed and the other being a photoresistor being controlled by the LED diode model. Yeah, but then I guess you want the it's a little bit weird because there's two parts of the system, right? There's the what do you call it? There's the LED and then there's the photoresistor. And I guess you would want a model for each part of that system. So you would want one part for the LED and one part for the photoresistor. Yeah, that's a good question. I should dig that up as well. That'd be a cool thing to see. So let's see, we've got some stuff stuff coming in, but it seems to be silent. Why is it silent? Yeah, it definitely shouldn't be silent. We got the EQ curve analyzer that should be putting stuff into it. How it's like a channel mismatch. Let's see what happens if I fix the chains for the channel configuration. No difference. All right. Well, yeah, so it seems like the plugin is making everything go silent, but it also seems like the audio buffer is silent before it gets to the plugin. So that's super weird. What if instead of the EQ curve analyzer, I just put in a test tone? Test tone. Let's try that. All right, so now we should have a constant input, and we should be able to see, yeah, okay, so we've got some data in there now. Go through process block, still have some data in there. We go through sanitize buffer, we still have some data in there. So where are we losing things? This doesn't make a whole lot of sense here. All right. Okay, there we go. Now things are fine. Do you prefer blockwise processing or sample-wise? Are there much advantages that one has over the other? Really depends on what you're doing. There's a lot of times where there's probably not much difference. But there's definitely some cases where it matters a lot. Like if you just need to multiply every number in a buffer by something, that's something that the compiler can optimize a lot and use vectorization and things like that. So doing that kind of thing in a block makes a ton of sense and can really help make things go faster. The other thing that you want to avoid is, like, if you are going to do sample by sample processing, you want to make sure that you're keeping, you want to make sure that you have a really tight control over the stuff that's happening per sample. In particular, trying to avoid things like virtual function calls and branching and things like that, because that's definitely going to slow down your program. So yeah, I think I generally prefer block processing just because I feel like it typically leads to better optimization. Maybe not always. Oh, you know what? I went back to the clap plugin, didn't I? That one didn't have the muting problem. Let's go back to VST3. Yeah, and it comes back. All right, that's super weird. When I prototype, it goes sample by sample, but otherwise do block 2. Yeah, I mean, that's probably a good strategy for a lot of situations. Okay, what? There's something strange going on here. All right, this is gonna bug me if I can't figure it out. Let's try restarting Bitwig since I'm starting to run out of ideas here. I mean, I could do a clean build of the plugin too, but I feel like I just did that not that long ago, so not sure what it would help me with. maybe let's double check that everything in here is as we expect it to be. All right, nothing in that folder. That's what we want to see. Oh, one's already open. Okay, so now I've got this guy, and I've got just these few contents. Okay, that seems correct. Let's try Bitwig again. When no sounds come out of my DAW, it's ASIO driver is having issues with another audio application. Well, I'm on Mac here, so I shouldn't have to worry about ASIO issues. The other thing that's weird is that it's like when I put the plugin in, everything goes silent, and then when I take the plugin back out, I get sound again. So I don't think it's something at that low of a level, but maybe it is. I don't know. I should keep my mind open. All right, let's do the test tone again. Test tone and VST3. Here we go. Oh, weird that it shows that one higher up because it's capitalized. That's a interesting quirk. Huh, okay, yeah, so still getting no sound out. Don't understand. I wonder also maybe what my audio devices are doing. Settings, okay, aggregate device. All that seems fine. 48K, 256, that's all normal. Audio devices seem okay. All right. Whenever this happens, I mostly look at the init block or update process. Yeah, that makes sense. Kind of what's odd to me, though, is that things worked perfectly normally when we were using the clap version of the plugin. And now that we're in VST3, we seem to be having issues. The other thing that's odd is that last time I stepped through this, everything seemed okay as far as actually getting audio both in and out. Let's see. Yeah, so we're not getting any nans or infinities or anything like that. Makes sense. So yeah, here at this point, the buffer does have some stuff in it. Let's see if we can, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. View as array. No, well, the debugger crashed, whatever. All right, I don't know, maybe let's try Ableton. And use debug to see if buffer is populated correctly. Yeah, that's what I was trying to do just now. And everything seemed to be fine until the debugger crashed. So yeah, that's a weird one. Yeah, I'm gonna try Ableton and see if anything appears different. Maybe I'll try Reaper as well. I don't know. In Ableton, I'd have to also review how I actually get MIDI input, or yeah, how I get MIDI input into an audio effect plugin. So yeah, I'm on the Ableton trial, so there's a lot of stuff I can't really do. What's up with the window size here? Okay. Yeah, let's just see if we can get audio in and out here. Multi-tool. Okay. Oh, audio engine is off. Okay, 48K. Whatever, all that should be fine. Yeah, so even in Ableton, I'm getting no audio out. It's super weird. Right? What am I doing wrong here? Let's just comment out everything and see what happens. Yeah, this is a weird one. I don't really know what's causing this, but it's a bummer because yeah, I really wanted to get into some of that key tracking stuff, and this is kind of eating up a lot of time, which is annoying. All right. So yeah, let's go back to Bitwig just because it's a little easier to debug with. All right, so now, okay, so even when I'm not doing anything at all, I'm getting the silence output. That's super weird. Man, what else could it be? That's a programmer's life. Debug, debug, then debug some more. Yep. There's got to be something weird going on. I wonder if it could be something with like the bus inputs. Or sorry, the bus outputs. Weird. I wonder too if maybe it's a Bitwig thing because I am using the beta. No, because I have it in Ableton too, so it's probably not a Bitwig thing. Yeah, answered my own question there. Huh. All right, maybe we go back to clap. See if maybe there's another reason why we weren't getting MIDI input. Here, let's bring back this stuff. All right, well, anyway, that's something to figure out another day. And for now, let's see if we can get some MIDI input from the clap plugin. All right. All right. All right, so now we're back in Flat World. Let's see what we get out of there. All right, so we get audio both in and out, so that's a good sign. And then let's get the EQ analyzer back up. EQ curve analyzer. There we go. And check our MIDI input. Yeah, maybe it's something with how I have my MIDI devices connected, and that's why it doesn't automatically find them. I don't know, I need to figure that out at some point. Let's see here. So SVF. let's get record happening. Okay, so we're seeing those yellow flashes, which means there should be some MIDI info, but we're not getting to it here. So let's see what's going on. All right. So yeah, clearly we're not getting anything happening here as far as actual MIDI. Yeah, I wonder if this could have something to do with the clap wrapper. Let's see. Oh, I don't want to search everything. I just want to search this. Okay, so note port info. Note port count. Okay, so this is all important stuff. So maybe let's see what we actually get in here. So to be able to do this, we're going to have to create a new instance of the plugin. And then we should hit that breakpoint. All right, here we go. So here we want to check if we have a note input port, which we should have. Apparently we don't. Why don't we? Oh, I think I need to override something, don't I? All right, so let's go back to the plugin base. There we go. So we want to make sure that accepts MIDI is overridden to be true. And that should give us a little more help in getting where we're trying to go. Man, this is taking a while to rebuild. Shouldn't be that bad. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Let's see. Okay. So back to the SPF. Let's get some resonance. And let's make sure we've got our MIDI controller hooked up. And that is annoying. Anyway, here we go. So now we've got some key tracking. There we go. So if I press an A, that should put me at 440 Hertz. That looks about right. And then go down an octave for 220, up an octave for 880. Yeah, looks about how I want it to look. All right. So there we go. There's some key tracking for us. So now we just need to actually make it a little more usable. Yeah, so maybe I'll add a little UI button up there to give us a key track option. And then we can hook up a parameter to turn it on or off. Oh, thanks, guys. So yeah, it says, I wonder if there is no library like Juice or Clap. Many people who are interested in audio programming would not even try to venture into it. Yeah, that's a great point. And honestly, something I noticed even with Clap. So Clap was released about a year ago, less than a year ago now. And something that I was kind of excited to see was that after Clap was announced, I feel like I heard a lot of people who were like, oh, you know, I know C++, but I never really got into audio stuff, even though I'm interested in it, because it just seemed too difficult to have to deal with VST stuff, or, you know, I didn't like how Juice did things, or, you know, various reasons like that, where they were like, oh, I didn't really see a good path to being able to try to make the kinds of things I wanted to make, even things like, oh, I want to make MIDI effects for, you know, with the whole VST2 to VST3 thing. A lot of people who are trying to make MIDI effect plugins kind of got really disheartened by the fact that now basically the whole Windows platform could no longer have MIDI effects. And so various things like that. But I think the announcement of Clap kind of got a lot of people excited about audio programming again in a way that I hadn't seen in some time. So I think that was really cool. And I hope that sort of the community overall can keep that momentum going, not just necessarily with Clap, but more generally in like getting people excited about doing audio programming and things like that. And, you know, creating new things and creating interesting things. And yeah, if we can keep that momentum going, I think that would be fantastic. Eden says, I totally want to make MIDI effects. I'll look into Clap. Yeah, it's great. I mean, a couple of people who I talked to were like, yeah, so this was before Clap had been released. They were like, yeah, so I want to make MIDI effects. I can do it with audio units, but obviously on Windows, I can't use audio units. So, you know, what do you do? And people had figured out various hacks to try to get things to work, but it generally wasn't a great place to be. But yeah, now with Clap, hopefully catching on with more and more DAWs, I think that's a really cool opportunity to have, you know, true MIDI effects again in a way that's cross-platform and everything. So yeah, that's super exciting. And I hope we can keep that momentum going. Generally with you know, audio programming and audio plugin development. So yeah, let's see if we can get an icon to use. One of these days I should sign up for Font Awesome Pro. I feel like it's not that expensive, and they have a lot of really cool icons. Oh man, okay, if I can spell anything. Okay, so it's got computer keyboards, but I really want more of a piano keyboard. None of these are quite what I had in my head. Probably this one is the closest. Maybe that one. Yeah, maybe that's the closest to what I'm looking for. Let's make sure I'm only looking at the free ones. No, okay. Maybe I'll have to create my own icon. Or maybe we can have a track instead of a key track. Yeah, I don't know what the right icon is here. There was a project on GitHub a while ago that was all like audio icons someone had made. That was pretty cool. Here we go. Font Audio. Yeah, this guy's awesome. Fonto. What's the license on these? Okay, MIT license. yeah, so I'm looking for like a keyboard icon. Does he have a browser for them? No. Yeah, I don't really want the whole set here. Yeah, obviously he's got a lot here. Piano, no, keys, keyboard. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. All right. So let's just download that. I'll make sure to put on audio in my little README thing. And then let's see here. So we can clear up a bunch of this stuff now. Cool. So in the UI, we're going to want a button in the SVF editor. And we've kind of already got a button for this, which is the arc limit button. So we'll have another one that is the key track button, if I can spell it right. And let's get the icon in here. So what was it called? FAD keyboard. Cool. So now I've got the icon here. So everything's in black now, but we'll replace that with whatever colors we want. And then I think I'll need to rerun CMake to get that to get that file to become available. So we've got the key track button here. We'll also need an attachment for it. Key track attach. So key vector FAD keyboard. And then we'll do the same colors that we're using here. Not gonna redo any colors at the moment. This should be the key track attach. It should attach to the key track button, and then I don't have a parameter for it yet, so let's go ahead and make that. So let's see, let's just have it be the first parameter. How about so this is a bool parameter. This is key track. And let's see, so we'll do SVF key track as a parameter ID. And we'll have it be off by default. Yeah, that's fine. So this can be the key track parameter. It'll show up in a minute. Okay. So now we want to make sure that the key track button has its spot, and then we'll shift the arc limit button over a little bit. So maybe we'll do maybe we'll double this width. That's probably fine. Yeah, let's give that a try. Me crying in the corner for someone who still uses bitmaps for GUI. Yeah, I mean, you know, you do whatever works. I try to do SVG wherever possible, partly just because I mean, honestly, I would probably just use whatever Font Awesome gave me. Since they give me SVGs, that's what I'll use. Yeah, I'm not really a graphics or a UI expert. I just kind of go with the flow there, and try to, try to keep some pulse of what everyone else is doing and follow along. Yeah, I'm not really trying to innovate too much in the UI area. Yeah, I'll try to save that energy for doing cool DSP stuff. But yeah, I don't know, visual things in general are not really my strong suit. But yeah, I think, I don't know, SVGs, the fact that they're resizable is nice, so that's cool. But yeah, I think this should look fine. Then the question will just be hooking up the parameter to from the UI to the DSP. That shouldn't be too hard. And then we'll probably want to change how we're doing the cutoff parameter. We'll probably want to do like instead of having the cutoff, we'd probably want like a key track offset. So you could offset it by like an octave or something like that. So it would have to be in semitones. So yeah, there's probably a thing for that somewhere. But yeah, so I'm not seeing the button. I think I forgot to do add and make visible, didn't I? I didn't do that for the arc limit button, just because that one's visibility depends on which parameters are being set. So here we go, add and make visible key track button. That's the spot for it. Yeah, but basic things. All right. I guess while folks are watching, any music that y'all are into that you're enjoying, I think I'm kind of at the point where I need something new to listen to. So I'd gladly take any recommendations. Yeah, there we go. So we've got our little key track button up there. So let's see. On this side, this shouldn't be that hard. Basically all we want to do is do if params dot key track get. So if we're in key track mode, we'll do this. Otherwise, we'll do things the normal way. So that should be fine. The other thing that I wanted to do was to think a little bit more carefully about which notes, if you're playing multiple notes at a time, which note is getting the key track, which note are we getting the key track pitch from? Because right now it's just going to take the most recent note that you play. And that's probably fine. But I wonder if we may want to do something a little bit more intelligent there. Like maybe the highest note or the lowest note. Yeah, I wonder. So usually when I'm thinking about stuff like this, I look at what the surge synthesizer does. But with surge things are a little bit different because the filters are polyphonic. So for each note you play, you have a new filter. So yeah, in in Surge, you don't really have to deal with this problem. You just do it so that each note gets its own filter and key tracks off of that note. And then if you're in a mono mode, like you can use Surge in some mono modes, then the filter will just follow whatever the note is doing or the oscillators are doing for mono mode. So I don't know, what's the thing that people do? Is it highest note or lowest note? I feel like, I don't know, maybe this is just the jazz guy in me, but I feel like lowest note would give you the root of the chord, right? Which would be what you want to key track off of. I don't know. Let's see. Mono, sim, highest note or lowest note. They do both high note priority. Classic is high note priority. Because it doesn't really have to deal with polyphony, I think newest note is the best process. I think you're right. Well, so here's the thing. Even if newest note is the best way to go, we should at least set it up so that if you're holding multiple notes and then you let go of if you let go of the currently playing note or whatever key track thinks is the currently playing note, then we should go to some other note that is playing. For now, I'll do highest note priority. And then if we decide to do something different later, then that's fine. But yeah, I'll do highest note priority for now. So here's what I'm thinking. What did I do wrong here? No template matching constructor. Come on, that's fine. Although I did forget to add the parameter here. I agree, go to next highest note. Yeah, so let's do that. We'll do high note priority, and then yeah, like I said, if we decide to change that later, we can. So let's see, struct. This will be a key trend note info. Actually, we don't need this, I don't think. So let's see. Should be a size T. So I'm gonna have this variable called max polyphony, which is a bit of a misnomer because we're not actually doing polyphony. But the idea here is that make it switchable process, for it will make things easier later on. Oh, so you could switch back and forth between highest note priority and lowest note priority. That's a cool idea. Yeah, we could do that. So yeah, with max polyphony, we're not actually having polyphony. What we're going to have is basically the max number of notes that you can hold down at a time before highest note priority or lowest note priority maybe gets the answer wrong, right? So if you're holding down like 30 notes and then you let go of one of them, the next note that you jump to might not be right. But whatever, I think for our case, that's fine. So we'll have an int, and this will be, this will just hold all of the playing notes. Max polyphony. So these are playing notes. I guess I could also have it set up to do, I could also have it set up so that you have an array for every possible MIDI note. I don't really want to do that at the moment. So when we prepare, we're going to fill the playing notes with -1. So we're going to treat -1 as no note is playing. 30 notes? Let's do 32. I like the even number. Someone's trying to call me here, sorry. All right. So we'll say 32 notes. How about? Yeah, so we'll fill that with -1. So we need to handle both note on and note off, right? I guess we might also need to be a little bit more clever later on in case like you have different channels as well. But for now, we'll just pretend everything's coming in on one channel. So here's what we'll do. We'll do bool Keytrack frequency needs update, and let's say that's false, right? And then if we have a note on or a note off message, then we'll reset that to true. And then down here outside the for loop, we can handle if Keytrack frequency needs update, we can do something there. Oh, don't force quit. I'm saying it sarcastically, but it seems right. Yeah, and honestly, it's set up so that it's one number. So whatever, we can make it be whatever we want it to be. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say for auto and note in playing notes. Yeah, let's just do it. Let's just keep it simple. So we'll say if note equals -1, then have note equal MIDI message dot get note number, and then we'll break. So the trade-off that we're making here is that if you play 32 notes and then you add a 32nd, or sorry, you add a 33rd note, that one will not be added to the array and we'll just pretend it never happened. I think that's fine. I don't think that's a huge deal. So I don't know, if people complain about it, then whatever. So now in this version, we'll do it the opposite way. So we'll say if note equals the note number, then set it to -1. So this means we're no longer playing the note. Now it's at -1. And so here, we'll have to, so here we'll have to get either the lowest or the highest note to play. So we'll add a couple methods here. So we'll have int get lowest note priority. And then we'll also have get highest note priority. And then we'll also have, I guess we should also have one for the currently playing note. Right, and we'll do, I think 69 is middle C. Might have that wrong. Yeah, we'll just say that it is. Anyway, so let's see. We'll need to have this as class methods. let's see. So lowest note priority means we're going to take the lowest note of the ones that are being played. Is there like a quick algorithm to do this? All right, let's do this. This should be int note to play. We'll make it -1 for playing notes. Note to play equals the max of, oh, wait a sec. This is wrong. Let's do 128, right? Because that's out of range for MIDI notes, I think. So for the lowest note, we want to do the min of note to play and note. And then we'll say if note to play is less than 128, return note to play. Otherwise, so this is like if there's no notes being played at all, we'll return currently playing note. Get highest note priority should be almost the same. So we'll have this be -1. We'll have this be max, and then we'll flip it. Yeah, all right. So for now, let's see. We'll do currently playing note equals get highest note priority. Later we can hook that up to a parameter. And then we just have to swap that out to be the currently playing note. All right. I think that should do it. Cool, yeah, so if this works, I'll probably call it a night here because yeah, I've got some other things to do this evening. But yeah, it's been a fun thing to work on. Obviously, there's a little more polishing that needs to be done before this feature is fully complete. But yeah, I think it'll be cool. I'm excited to mess around with it a bit. So yeah, so to test, I can do, yeah, I can hold down the different A's and see which one comes out, and then when I release a note, make sure that I get back the note that I want. Ethan says, thanks for sharing. I always learn a lot from your streams. Awesome. Yeah, glad that you're enjoying it. That's that's why I do this, so that people can see it and hopefully pick something up or have a question or something that sparks some curiosity in some direction. And yeah, if there's something that if there's something that you'd like me to talk about in a future stream, I'm more than happy to do that. Well, I guess it depends on what the topic is, but if it's something I'm comfortable talking about, then I'm more than happy to do that. All right, so now Keytrack is on, so we shouldn't be at that frequency anymore now that Keytrack is on, but we'll see. So we got the MIDI keyboard back together. All right, so that's okay. There we go. That's 220. That's 440, and if I let go of 440, it goes back. All right. That seems pretty good. What if I go to a higher note or something else? Okay. Let's see. I go to 440. I let go of the low A, and then maybe I go to the D below that. And I let go of the high A. Nice. That's pretty cool. I enjoyed your ADAAs ADAAs a bit ago. A little over my head with that wave folder though. Yeah, that wave folder was tricky. That gave me some trouble. But yeah, we could do another ADAA thing sometime. That would be fun. So let's test lowest note priority, see if that works. Yeah, so we could do something more complicated here so that, you know, if you play a 33rd note, then the oldest note is the one that gets removed. I think that's what my keyboard actually does. But I'm not sure that's worth it. I don't know who's going to be playing this with those kinds of things. So I'm not sure it's worth it to do that kind of thing. What's going on here? Okay, Blaze says, I think I missed something. What was the root cause of the problem with MIDI input, or do we really know? Yeah, that's a good point. I kind of skimmed over that because I was so frustrated with the weird VST3 thing. So the problem with the MIDI input was that I did not have this function being overridden. So I was using the base class version of accepts MIDI, which returns false by default. And so that's why we weren't getting MIDI input into the plugin. After we changed this, then it was working. So yeah, that was why MIDI input wasn't working. So yeah, thanks for reminding me. The thing we don't really know is why the VST3 stuff was behaving so strangely. That one, I do not know. I don't know if I'm going to solve it today. I think that's one for maybe the weekend. All right, so we're in key track mode. Okay, so lowest note priority seems to not work. Let's see, what did we do wrong? Lowest note priority. Okay. If note play, sorry, if note is greater than -1, then we want to do that. Easy mistake to make. Yeah, so we'll have to add a parameter to switch between highest and lowest note priority, and then we'll have to add a key track offset parameter. That'll be a fun one. Yeah, and then I think maybe I'd want to also add like some way to visualize the parameter value for this dot slider. So for the normal mode, it'll show you the cutoff frequency in hertz, and then for key track mode, it should show you the what do you call it? The offset in semitones. So here we go. Oh, probably got to reconnect this guy. It's super annoying. Anyway, all right, so now I've got A440, A220. Yeah, that seems to work. Neat. Cool. Yeah, so we can do highest note priority and lowest note. I think highest should be the default, so I'll go back to that for now. Yeah, and then maybe I'll get Surge out and we can do a little jam in here. That'll be fun. All right. Yeah, I feel like maybe it won't be super useful at the moment because we don't have the offset. We don't have the offset thing working, but that's all right. So let's double check that we're back in the land of high note priority. Yeah, that didn't do it. some reason it needs to be over there, does it? Okay, so yeah, so we're back in highest node priority. Cool. So let's pull out Surge and see if we can get some sound out of this. Yeah, okay, that sounds about how I expected it to. But yeah, as I mentioned, it's only going to be so useful at the moment, just because of the lack of offset. But yeah, so let me see, what's the right way to test this? Maybe I should try. Maybe I should try to get some self-oscillating going on. I get some cool sounds. Maybe the art filter is the way to go. Yeah, cool. Yeah, sorry I can get some sound working today. I'll get that going to the stream next time. But yeah, actually, you know what? Let's try this the cheap way. I'll put the headphones right next to the microphone here. Maybe it'll sound like something. Yeah, I'll turn that up a little more. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's some simple key tracking there. Yeah, and so that's just with like the bass patch for Surge. So if I turn off the filter, you'll hear normal saw wave. So yeah, there we go. All right, key tracking is working. So yeah, still some more work to do to get this parameter or to get this feature working just right. But yeah, cool that it works at least partially. And yeah, hopefully I'll be able to finish it sometime this week. So yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Not sure if I'm going to do a stream next week. Actually, let me look at my calendar. Because I'm going to go to there's like an ADC thing happening in a couple weeks. So that week will be a little busy for me. Yeah, so maybe next week, maybe the week after, I'll do a stream and then we'll go from there. All righty. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.